Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Riverrocklaw YouTube channel. And this week I wanted to do a couple of videos with respect to real estate because, of course, the hot time of the market actually has already happened. I won't say it is upon us. It's already starting. It almost seems like it really didn't slow down from last year. We were delayed when starting the usual real estate season because of the COVID precautions in place, but it actually only ended up serving to extend the time. So there's lots of closings in September, October, even November, more than we usually saw because of that. And then it didn't really seem to slow down. So I guess it's a bit of a misnomer because we traditionally think of spring as the time like where people start listing. You know, you've got active buyers looking to enter the market to try and find whether it's their first home or their second home or their forever home or downsizing. That's the kind of thing that you're looking at. So the topic that I wanted to discuss today is the bane of most real estate lawyers' existence, and that is an RPR that has not been updated to reflect the addition or the alteration of a deck. Okay. So there's a couple of things that you need to know, and specifically we're talking usually City of Edmonton, but the surrounding municipalities are fairly similar in kinds of the regulations that they're looking at. So for the City of Edmonton, you don't actually need a development permit if, of course, the structure that you're building is under 2 feet. That's fine. You don't need a building permit for that either. Doesn't need to have handrails and that sort of thing. When you're talking over 2 feet, you most definitely need a building permit because they want to make sure that there's railings because it's a safety issue. So that doesn't, however, affect the fact that if you have an old real property report, and some of you might be asking, well, just what is a real property report? It's effectively a survey of the land showing the footprint of your house and any other structures on the property. So you'll usually see a fence line, sometimes you'll see movable sheds, you'll see decks, sometimes you'll see sidewalks, garage pads. You'll most definitely see, of course, the house, and if you've got a deck, there should be a deck there. So the problem that most sellers encounter is that they forget for some reason that they've added a deck, and therefore the real property report isn't up to date. Well, I've got news for you. If you've signed a contract whereby you say you're going to provide an RPR, a real property report that shows everything in terms of up-to-date structures, and the deck was a new addition, and so it's not on the RPR report you got when either you purchased the house or you got it from the builder if you bought brand new, you're going to have a problem. And what that problem is the buyer's lawyer is going to require your lawyer to hold back funds for you to get a new real property report and submit it to the municipality for compliance. And so what a holdback typically encompasses with brand new survey, so we're looking about $750 to $1,000 there. And then of course we're looking at compliance, which is usually around $100 to $150, and then if you put a rush on that, well, potentially try doubling that. So you're looking at a holdback of about $1,500, okay? Now, that's just the holdback if you have the deck permit, if you've got the building permit. And again, we're talking, of course, decks that are more than 2 feet off the ground. Well, here's the thing, as of 2020 and 2021, the cost of lumber has skyrocketed. So normally a deck might hold back, if it's a small one, $2,500, maybe $5,000. Nuh-uh, not these days. We're looking at holdbacks of $7,000 for the deck, $10,000 potentially if we're talking a large deck, because that's what it would cost if, say, for example, the city went out there, inspected it, and said, no, this won't do, this hasn't been built to code at all, it's a safety hazard, tear it down and redo it. So that's the amount of money. We're talking now $7,500 to $10,000 plus that $1,500 holdback. So if you're hoping as a seller to, of course, be a purchaser and buy a new home, and you're kind of counting on that $9,000 to $11,500 to go towards the purchase of your new home, Probably not going to happen. And also keep in mind there's lots of people building, so the permit office down at the city is very, very busy. So I'm sorry for what might appear as a long-winded rant, but I really want to get across to people that it's so important to check with your realtor before you list what's on your real property report, okay? If the structures haven't changed, if it's all the same, even if it's more than 6 months old, you can always swear a statutory declaration confirming that there's been no additions, changes, deletions, and that's fine. But if there's been an alteration, especially the addition of a deck, that's the most common one that us real estate lawyers run into. It's always terrible to have to break the news to the client, usually quite close to closing, that, sorry, we're not going to be in a position to release all the funds if you're acting for the seller, and then, of course, for the buyer saying, so we're going to have to do a little bit more cleanup. Okay, and we won't be able to, you'll still be able to close, mind you, but your lawyer's going to be doing some work in the background until they actually get an updated real property report, compliance, and of course the building permits need to come through first in order to submit for those from the seller's lawyer. So there could be cleanup, whether it takes 8 weeks, whether it takes 3 months. So I just want people to be aware of that. So that's my little tip of the day, maybe rant of the day. Hope that helps a lot. Jennifer Locke with Riverrocklaw. If you have any further questions about this subject, more than happy to chat with people. Drop me a line. Thanks so much. Have a great day.